I'm starting a new series called Song Histories, and this series will focus on the history, lyrics, meaning, and anything else related to one specific song. For this episode, I chose One Last Breath by Creed. I'm not sure why, it was kind of random, but if this video does well, I'll do more of these. The idea is that I want to discuss the song's history and go into some of the lyrical interpretations as well. So with that being said, let's get started. One Last Breath was released as a single on April 15th, 2002. It was recorded in J. Stanley Productions in Florida. It was released on the Epic label and was the third single from their third album, Weathered. The idea for the song came after they completed their Human Clay tour. The band came to an agreement that no new songs would be written until the tour ended. The band also agreed not to listen to any new music between the period comprising the end of the tour and the start of the writing sessions for the album Weathered. They did not want any outside music to influence the sound of the new album. The song in question, One Last Breath, was written during the 3-week period that the songs for Weathered were written. Most of the writing was done in Scott Stapp's living room as well as on board his recreational motorboat. Let's talk about the release of the song now. The song did very well on the charts. This was their fourth and final top 10 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. It spent 34 weeks on the chart and peaked at number 6. I found it kind of surprising a rock song could be so popular, but remember this was over 20 years ago and the musical climate was much different back then. The song also appeared on different Billboard charts such as the Mainstream Rock, Mainstream Top 40, and Adult Top 40. The song also did well in other countries such as Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and Ireland. There was a physical CD release in the UK, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. There was also a DVD single released in the UK, which is kind of interesting. I didn't know that they existed. The UK single had 4 tracks: One Last Breath, Bullets, a song from Weathered, I'm 18, a cover of the Alice Cooper classic, which, by the way, I never knew existed until I started to research this topic, and a video version of One Last Breath. By the way, I checked out the Alice Cooper cover, and it was not too bad. Better than the Anthrax version from their Fistful of Metal album. The European single had only 2 songs, a radio version of One Last Breath and This Is the End from Human Clay. There was a music video, so let's talk about it. The video was edited by Dave Meyers, who worked on some of the band's other videos. When Dave Meyers and Scott Stapp started planning the video, they found out they were both fans of Salvador Dali. Therefore, a majority of the videos were shot using a green screen and computer-generated animations. The band was shown performing in different settings. The idea was that they wanted to use surreal imagery, but then tragedy struck. On the day they were about to shoot the video, Scott Stapp was in an automobile accident. On April 19th, 2002, at around 1:40 in the afternoon, Scott Stapp was driving his car on Interstate 4 in Florida, and he was rear-ended by a Ford SUV. According to the statement given by Scott Stapp, the vehicle was going about 50 or 60 miles an hour, so Scott was launched forward in his car and his body hit the steering wheel and his head hit the windshield. But Scott was well enough to get out of his vehicle and check the other driver. They then reported the accident. They didn't report any injuries. Scott thought he was okay. But later he discovered that he suffered a concussion from the whiplash and from hitting the windshield. According to Scott Stapp, he said it was because the police weren't doing their job and they didn't want to call the paramedics. But this accident did not stop Scott Stapp because he showed up the next day to where they were shooting the video. He was on lots of medication because he was having a lot of head, neck, and back pain, but he fought through the pain and he continued to shoot the video. There were a few scenes where they used a body double because of his pain, but in the end they said that his facial expressions from the pain helped convey the emotion of the song. After they shot the video, Scott Stapp went to the hospital for more imaging tests and found that he had a bulging disc between 2 vertebrae in his neck and a broken disc in his lower back. So after that, he needed rest, recovery, and physical therapy. The music video is kind of trippy. It shows the band members on mountainous ranges, standing on these high cliffs. At one point, Scott Stapp falls from the cliff. The band only had 3 members at that time, so the other people appearing in the video were Mark Tremonti and Scott Phillips. There was also a woman who makes a brief appearance in the video. I guess the CGI effects were pretty good for the early 2000s standards, but it was a cool music video. And now the last part of the video where I talk about the lyrics and what they mean. So according to Scott Stapp, the song is about someone crying out for help after they realize mistakes they've made in their past. There's also another meaning that's about being able to have friends and families for support. Now, there's a lot of lyrics in the songs that have been interpreted by other people, so I'm going to be going off some of the comments that I read online about different interpretations of the lyrics. For example, I read one comment thinking it was about Lane Staley of Alice in Chains. I know he died around the same time, which was exactly 10 days before the single was released, so it's a plausible interpretation, but according to the band, it's not true. There's another interpretation. He says the line 6 feet from the edge. Maybe thinking 6 feet 8 so far down. It's a metaphor for death, and he's speaking to God and or the angels because he thinks he's going to die. I read another comment saying that had to do with mental illness and suicidal thoughts. This person also referenced 6 feet from the edge lyric. There's another person who had a really dark theory saying it's about Scott Stapp having an affair and his wife says she's going to leave him, so he threatens suicide to keep her around. I don't think this one's true, but it's kind of a dark theory. There was another comment where this guy really deconstructs the song, so his theory is that it's about a person and this person is going through a depression. He feels he hasn't done anything with his life and he doubts whether or not he's a good person. He wants to be saved and he wants God to save him. But then he thinks God isn't doing anything to help him and he gets angry at God and he starts to spiral. He thinks God has abandoned him and he just gets more depressed. And this is to the point where he's thinking about killing himself. But then he thinks more about his life and he realizes that there are people in his life that want him around. So he realizes that his purpose from God is to be around these people, so for that reason he can't die just yet. So I think this one is kind of plausible because a lot of Creed songs have somewhat of a religious or Christian type of message. And that is all. Let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know what you think of the series. If you want to check out an old video I did about the band Creed, I check out this review right here. It's an old review of Human Clay. I did it when my review was fairly new, so you can check it out. In the meantime, please subscribe to my channel. Please give this video a like. Please leave a comment and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.